Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to my best books of 2025. As of now, it's the 15th of December. I have been fairly set on this list for a while. I am reading a few books. In theory, they could make it to this list. I highly doubt it. I think I'm gonna add one as an honorable mention actually. So I'm fairly confident in this list and that it won't change, even though there's still technically 2 weeks left to read books for. When I started to put together this list, I realized that this hasn't been an amazing year for reading new books. I haven't had that many new 5 stars. Usually on this list I only want to talk about my 5-star books and my top 10 5-star books. So this year I only have a top 5 of 5-star books. And I think the reason might be that I've done a lot of rereading this year, and I do have like 6 5 stars amongst those rereads. But I'm not putting rereads on my best books of the year. I've never done that. And I'm not gonna start now. These are books that I read for the first time in 2025, and that's that. So I have 5-star books to talk to you about today, but I'm also throwing in 5 honorable mentions. Let's start with the honorable mentions, or books I've given 4.5 stars. So still a high rating, but they just didn't hit the spot in the way that some 5-star books do. And the first book I'm gonna mention, I'm just throwing this in here for like reassurance, to make sure that this list is still sort of conclusive, even though I'm filming it earlier this year. And the book is actually a book I'm currently reading. I have like 20% left of it. I'm listening to it as an audiobook. I want to mention it because I am really enjoying it. It's not gonna be a 5-star, but I feel like it's gonna be a really strong 4-star. And that book is The Christmas Fling by Lindsay Kelk. So this is a Christmas book I'm currently reading or listening to, and I'm having so much fun with it. It's your typical fake dating sort of story. Imagine the proposal, but in the Scottish Highlands or whatever. It's super duper messy. We have the frazzled British woman. It's given Bridget Jones. Not as steamy as I would have hoped. Haven't had any steamy scenes yet. It's a fun time. It's making me smile a lot. And I feel like a book that's making me smile a lot and makes me laugh deserves an honorable mention. It's your fake dating sort of story about this girl who meets a guy she's gonna be renting an apartment from. She meets him and it starts out messy, and she's gonna pretend to be his girlfriend as he goes to his family for Christmas. But things are really messy. This guy pulled out so many lies when he made out this girlfriend, and she's forced to work through the weirdest of situations. She's supposed to be a masseuse. She is supposedly a vegan. She doesn't drink, like everything she was excited about for this like holiday, she can't do really. And it's very funny. I like the chemistry a lot between the characters. I like the banter. I feel like the dialogue is very solid throughout the book as well. I don't know how it's gonna end, and the ending might disappoint me. We're gonna see. I am really enjoying it. It's a good Christmas read. So I thought that I will just cover all of my bases and mention that one. But now let's get to other honorable mentions for books I have actually completed. First off, we have Deep Cut by Holly Brickley. I think I gave this like 4.5, maybe a 4, but a very strong 4 in that case. This was a very anticipated book of mine, and I did thoroughly enjoy it. It's a story that starts out in the 2000s, and we are following Joe and Percy, and they sort of get to know each other and get this connection based on music. He's sort of a star in the making, he's a singer, and she really understands music, or is really a fan of music and knows a lot about like music history and stuff. And they sort of work together and transform Joe's songs into like actual star records. It's sort of about how Joe steps into the spotlight and Percy is sort of forced to be in the background, doesn't really know how to deal with it, and they sort of get separated as they graduate from college and like continue with their lives and get new jobs and stuff. And it's sort of how they occasionally find their way back to each other throughout the years. There's a lot of like name dropping of different songs in this one, so I actually highlighted those moments and made a playlist out of it. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the writing in this one actually. I like any sort of book that's about music or musicians. It's just a hobby of mine. I sort of knew I would like this. Also, the premise sort of reminds me of Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, how it's sort of a Bildungsroman, how it like follows them throughout the years. Sort of the same concept here, even though it's shorter. The characters are sort of like unlikable, but still likable. It's a bit of a complex dynamics between the characters. They aren't the best people. It's a book I really enjoyed. If you're interested in music, if you like something similar to Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, I do recommend this one. I think it's really nice. Another honorable mention, let's go with Fourth Wing. I gave this 4.5 stars. I read it at the start of the year and I had such an amazing time. This book had me kicking my feet, giggling, squealing. It was a lot of fun. It was my first time reading Fourth Wing. As I mentioned, I don't put any rereads on this list. And I did a buddy read with my friends for this one. And it was just such a good time. It's so cliche. It's so tropey, but in a really good way. I really like the main character actually. That surprised me a lot. I like Violet. It's about this school where people are training to become dragon riders. And we have our main character Violet. She rather study like books and history, but is sort of forced to enter the school for the dragon riders instead. And she's sort of struggling. She doesn't really have the build for it, but she's smart. And she sort of have this mantra that I won't die today or something like that. That sort of follows her throughout the book. And she also has like a nemesis or an enemy at the school, which is Seiden, who really doesn't like Violet. There's some history here, different teams in the world or whatever. But Violet sort of proves herself throughout the book, and obviously there's gonna be a romance, an enemies lovers romance, and a lot of fun things. And I actually tabbed it a bunch while I read it. I also have a video of me where I vlogged my experience reading this for the first time, which I will link. I had so much fun working on that one, to be honest. I just tabbed a bunch of things and had a good time with it. I tabbed the world building, moments I like, and what the fuck moments, so like big reveals. I had actual reactions while reading this book, and it was fun. It isn't perfect, that's why it didn't get a 5-star, but it's a really solid freaking book. I get the hype. I do. Next honorable mention, next 4.5 read is Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. Catabasis, I no longer remember. My most anticipated read of 2025, possibly, or second to most. Thoroughly enjoyed reading this book as well. This is the story about 2 Cambridge students who go to hell together in search for their professor. It's not as tricky to get into as you would think. When people started to get arcs for these books and stuff, people started to talk about, oh, you need to read these books in preparations in order to fully understand it. You need to read Dante, you need to read Piranesi, you need to read these books and yada yada yada. You don't really. You don't need to do any like required reading before reading this book. I am a fan of R.F. Kuang. I love her books. The Poppy War series is my favorite of hers. And I highly, greatly enjoyed this one as well. I liked the characters, I liked the banter in it. I like the concept of them going to hell and working through these different sort of levels or layers and using their brains to figure things out. It was close to getting a 5-star. I feel like the last quarter of it, 100 pages, something like that, you started to confuse me a bit. I did really enjoy the ending, if I remember correctly, but just like the parts before the ending confused me quite a bit. I'm actually gonna look up my Goodreads review to see if I wrote anything of significance. Satisfying ending. Second half got a bit more confusing, a bit more fever dream-esque, which isn't a favorite theme of mine. And I also started to find the book being a bit too long and dragging by. But the last 50 pages were so great and satisfying. And then the final honorable mention that I want to talk about is Nothing Burns as Bright as You by Ashley Woodfolk. This is a book I received as a gift from a booktube friend a while back, and I didn't think this would be a book for me. This was a book I expected to read once, give 3 stars and think nothing of it. Because it is a young adult story about 2 teenage girls, and the story is told in verse. So it's not actual prose, it's more like poetry. And that usually isn't for me. I was surprised, because this book was so stunning and gorgeous and wonderful and brilliant and amazing in its writing. It's all of those things. It's the story about two girls and their tumultuous history growing up and how they were best friends until they became more, affections grew, and the blurry lines become dangerous. Over the course of a single day, the depth of their past, the confusion of the present, and the unpredictability of the future is revealed. All the girls will learn that hearts like flames aren't so easily tamed. It starts with a fire. How will it end? This is a book I went into not knowing much, and just these words and the way things were articulated and communicated was so freaking beautiful. And while reading this, I was like, damn it, I need to reread this again and properly annotate it and like highlight my favorite paragraphs and stuff, because this has some freaking gorgeous writing about longing and loving and how like consumed you can feel by someone, and just the confusion of being young as well and experiencing certain emotions for the first time. It's stunning. It's sapphic. It's such a I don't know why I didn't give it 5 stars. Maybe it should be a 5-star actually. It's a stunning book. Let's now head into my top 5 books of 2025. Let's start with number 5. This is a book I started to read years ago, but finally finished this year, and that book is Conversations on Love by Natasha Lunn. This is a non-fiction book with essays about love. And it also contains a lot of interviews from various authors, such as Dolly Alderton, Candice Carter-Williams, Roxane Gay, Philippa Perry, many more. And this is a book I've been reading on and off for the last 2-3 years. And I feel like it's a perfect book to have that experience with, actually. You don't need to read it in one go. You can read like slight parts here and there. It talks us through various questions. So it first asks, how do we find love? Then how do we sustain love? How can we survive losing love? And we also get a conclusion. So it's sort of divided up into that, and with different interviews with different authors and their experience with love, both like romantic love, but also platonic love, love to family, having a crush, getting divorced, losing someone you love. It tackles a lot of various subjects. And I feel like many things I read in this was very relatable. Many things I have not yet experienced similar things to, so I can't really relate to. But this book might prepare me for that as well, or I might return to this book when that comes. It's a great book, and you don't need to read it in one go. I don't feel like it lessened my experience that I read it on and off throughout for 2 years. Definitely not. And I did highlight it while I was reading it as well. So if you have any interest in like essay collections, or perhaps these authors that collaborated on this book, I do recommend this. It's not gonna be for everyone. Many might think that it's boring, but if you're just curious about the topic of love, if you're just curious about that, I would recommend it. I get that it's not for everyone, but for me it's a 5-star because I don't really see what this book could have done differently. It did exactly what it was supposed to do, and I appreciate the book because of it. Next up, number 4 on this book, is a book I listened to as an audio. And that book is The House of My Mother, A Daughter's Quest for Freedom by Sherry Frankie. And this is a memoir from the eldest daughter of the 8 passengers family. I didn't know about this scandal before listening to this book. I have since also watched a docuseries on Disney Plus about this that was really freaking good as well. But basically it was about this family where the mom becomes a family vlogger, but she also had really strict religious beliefs, and sort of got involved with a cult, and how that affected the family. And this is, as mentioned, told from the eldest daughter's perspective and the things that she experienced. Her mother enforced a severe moral code while maintaining a facade of a picture-perfect family for their widely popular YouTube channel. But a darker truth lurked beneath the surface. Ruby's wholesome online persona masked a more tyrannical parenting style than anyone could have imagined. Fueled by the sadistic influence of relationship coach Jody Hildebrandt, together they implemented an inhumane and merciless disciplinary regime. So I thought this was a very brave book. I found it very interesting to get some insight into the topic of like family vlogging. I feel like there's gonna be more exposés about the dangers of that in the future. I don't feel like this is the start of it. It's a very important and powerful read. I thought the storytelling was great when listening to it as an audiobook. And yeah, I hope this has some bigger impact on discussions when it comes to family blogging and vlogging. My one thought was that I would have loved to get some more conclusions regarding the role that religion and the LDS Church played into this, because I feel like it was sort of skimmed over. And that's probably more of a me thing. I just feel like that was also a greater part of the story. But I feel like it's a really strong book. I voted for it in the memoirs category for Goodreads. I'm so glad that it won as well. Once again, a really important book. I feel like more people should listen to it. It stood out. It's one I keep thinking about as well. And now we're getting to the top 3. First off, a book I was obsessed with while I read it. It took me by surprise as well. I did not expect to love it as much as I did. It was my favorite book for a long time, for like the first half of the year. And that book is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. My only other experience of reading Emily Henry before was reading Beach Read. I gave that one 3 stars. Wasn't too impressed by it. Haven't really read Emily Henry since, but I was gifted Book Lovers 1 or 2 years ago by my friends, and I finally picked it up, and I love this one. This was so good. This was such a fun and good romance. Oh my god, I loved it. I was obsessed. Do I remember anything about it today? Barely, but I remember reading it and like thinking about it constantly and being like, I need to continue with it. I'm loving this so much. So the story is about Nora, who is a cutthroat literary agent on the top of her game. Her whole life is books. And we're also following Charlie, who is an editor with a gift for creating bestsellers. And he is Nora's work nemesis. Nora has been through enough breakups to know she's the one men date before they find her happily ever after. So sort of the trope, you know. To prevent another dating dud, Nora's sister persuades her to swap her city desk for a month's holiday in Sunshine Falls. It's a small town straight out of a romance novel, but instead of meeting sexy lumberjacks, handsome doctors, or cute bartenders, Nora keeps bumping into Charlie. Both work with books, they both stumble upon each other in this small town, and they share a lot of experiences while hanging out there. I don't remember anything about it. I don't remember. Not gonna lie. But when I read this, I had the best freaking time. I liked the steamy scenes, I liked the banter a lot. It was very funny. I remember thinking that I really enjoyed the way the dialogue went between these characters. But it was a really solid book. It used tropes well, and this made me become more excited about Emily Henry. Maybe if other Emily Henry books haven't worked for you, this might still be it, because it worked for me out of nowhere. Good summer romance read. Top 2. Can you guess what you think is gonna be my top 2 books of the year? Second place, we have My Friends by Fredrik Backman. Gasp! It's not my favorite book. No, there's one that I enjoyed even more than this. This was my most anticipated book of 2025. I'm a Fredrik Backman girly. He's my favorite author, and I couldn't wait to get my hands on this. I had to even read it in English first because it was released in English first. I do plan on reading the Swedish edition very soon because we're reading it for my friend's book club. It's sort of told in 2 timelines. We have a group of friends when they were teenagers in a small town, and were enjoying the last few days of summer. And they were sort of on the cusp between being still kids and becoming proper young adults with all of the problems that come with that. And the other timeline is 25 years later, and it's about this world famous painting and the artist of that painting, and about Louisa, who is a young girl, teenager, aspiring artist herself, and sort of a journey she ends up on with a middle-aged man and with this painting in focus as well. It's a testament of the transformative, timeless power of friendship and art, and Louisa is proof that happy endings don't always take the form we expect. I think it's one of Backman's darkest books. This is sort of like quite a sad book, I would say. It discusses grief a lot, but it's also quite a hopeful book in some ways. In my review for this, I also wrote that it's probably his most lyrical book yet, compared to the others, in the way it was written. Might be because I read it in English, I don't know. I'm gonna read it in Swedish and see if I still feel that way. And I also wrote that it was nostalgic, heartfelt, and tragic. So it's definitely a more sad book, but it's also stunning. He still has his gorgeous writing, his typical Bachman-esque writing, the way he can just get straight to the point with just one sentence, and he can skip between happy moments and sad moments on the same page, make you feel all of the emotions. There's a lot of really stunning quotes. I also made a video when I read this one, so I can link it somewhere here as well if you're interested. And I feel like I talked a lot about the quotes that resonated with me. It's a good book. I recommend it. If you have enjoyed Backman's other books, you should read it. I also think like it's a good place to start with Backman, honestly, if you want something more recent. But now you might be thinking, what could possibly have taken Backman's spot? What could have taken the spot from my friends of being the best book of 2025 for you? It's another really freaking stunning book. A book I enjoyed a lot. A book I probably need to reread at some point because there were just so many quotes I enjoyed. I dog-eared this book. I very rarely dog-ear books. This book I dog-eared. That book is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I expected to enjoy this. I have enjoyed her other books a lot. I did not expect to love this book the way that I did. Everything about this book hit the spot for me. It was like almost a perfect 10 out of 10. This is probably my favorite Taylor Jenkins Reid book. And I just really enjoyed the writing, the story, the characters, and all the research that went into this book as well. So this book takes place in the summer of 1980. We're following astrophysics professor Joan Goodwin, who begins training to be an astronaut, alongside an exceptional group of fellow candidates. As the new astronauts prepare for their first flights, Joan finds a passion and a love she never imagined and begins to question everything she believes about her place in the observable universe. Then, in December of 1984, on a mission, everything changes in an instant. This story highlights women in STEM in a really beautiful way, because it's taking place in the 1980s, and unfortunately women didn't have the same rights that we have today. It's still not perfect, but you sort of forget that it was even worse back in the day. This sort of highlights that. It's a really heartfelt moment where they sort of discuss the first woman in space and how important that was, because that woman wasn't just a woman on that space shuttle. She represented every single woman and girl for that trip. And that's quite heavy, I feel like, and something I really appreciated being highlighted. How sometimes whenever a woman is the first within something, she's not only herself and the first person doing that, she's the first of half of humankind, basically, and carries the weight of that. I also really appreciate the relationships explored in this one. First of all, the friendships within this crew, amazing. The love story in this one is so gorgeous. It's beautiful. It made me tear up at so many parts. I also really appreciated the family dynamics explored in this one. Joan doesn't have the most supportive family. She has a difficult relationship with her sister, and it's frustrating to read, but it's also really important to read, and I appreciated that. I just really like the story of her training to become an astronaut and everything she learned with that, and like whenever she made a test and she had to like learn how to like fall from the sky down into the ocean and sort of save herself, and when she did those things she was always like, oh my god, what else can I do? I just did that. What more can I do? This is incredible. She's discovering how strong and smart and splendid she is, and it's so gorgeous to read. I love that as well. Great characters, wonderful writing, great storytelling. Best book of 2025, easily. I have no complaints. No notes on this book. I just adored it with all of my heart. It took me by surprise how much I loved it. I expected to enjoy it. I could even expect to give it five stars. But I didn't expect this to be as heartfelt as it was and to touch me in the way that it did. And it made me sort of look at space another way, at Earth and the world in another way, at astronauts. And it made me proud to be a woman in STEM. It's my favorite book of 2025. And there we have it. Those were my best books of 2025. 5 books that I gave 5 stars, and 5 books that were very close to being 5 stars and became honorable mentions. I would love to know if you have read any of these books and what you thought of them, or if I perhaps made you interested in picking up any of these books. And also let me know what your favorite book of 2025 was. Overall, I feel like it was quite a solid year, even though I didn't have as many new 5-star reads. But once again, I read a lot of rereads, and the 5 stars and 4 stars I gave were still very solid. I am super excited about 2026. I feel like it's gonna be an even more epic reading year. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye!